question for you viewers. Are you dating a man or a boy? Please welcome Dr. Karyn Gordon with the answer. Listen, I love these segment titles, I don't know, but I love them. I am loving all of them. You know, 5 ways to know if you're dating a man or a boy. I think it's a valid question because sometimes you get stuck in these situations and you're thinking to yourself, is this okay? Is this proper behavior from a man? Maybe not, maybe it is. We'll get you all the way in on the conversation after this via social media. But let's start with the first tip. What do you need to see to know that you've got that distinction between man and boy?
Okay, so everyone's at home is going to filter this through your own experience, and this could actually apply whether or not you're dating or actually even if you're married, really.
Okay.
Okay, so number one is, has he lived on his own? Very important that he does not go from mama's house to your house.
Yes.
Very important. So kind of some basic skills. Laundry.
Yeah.
Okay, laundry, cooking, cleaning. Can he clean his own toilet? We're talking about basic skills, folks. It's very important. Has he actually lived it? And it's possible that when you're actually dating him, that he's maybe back at home. So he might have gone, for a season. That's fine. But as long as he's had a season where he's been on his own, very important that he can actually take care of himself.
Would you say the same for a woman, though?
Yeah.
Does a woman need to live on her own to see the difference between a woman and a girl?
Yeah, and you know what? I would actually say for all of these tips, they could apply
to
absolutely.
both.
Are you dating a girl or a woman?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it
really is not
like that.
Yeah.
And I particularly like the second tip. He stands up to his parents.
Oh yes, can he stand
huge.
up to his parents? And we're going to see this a lot more, especially when you're kind of getting a bit closer to whether or not you're engaged or if actually you're married. In marriage and family therapy language, we call it being differentiated, which basically means that somebody who's actually able to stand up to their parents, it's a real sign that they've actually grown up.
Okay.
And a lot of times people don't do that. And you could be like, and by the way, this is not an age thing.
Yeah.
You could be 40 years old or 50 years old and still acting like a boy or a girl, right? So this has nothing to do, this is like emotional maturity, not the actual age. So when a person can actually stand up to their parents saying, I love you, I respect you, but I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big deal.
It's a very big deal.
And
that's probably the biggest. Of all 5, that's actually probably the hardest one to do of these 5, because it's so hard. A lot of us, it's actually interesting. When I work with couples, I'll often ask them, how old do you feel when you're with your parents? It's a very interesting question because people will be like, well, I'm 50, but when I'm with my mom and dad, I kind of feel like I'm 19. A lot of times it's a different age, and it's usually the age that they actually have left home, which means they never really emotionally grew up in the face of their parents.
Right. You have to develop an adult relationship with your parents.
So it's really, really, really important, especially if you're going to have a really healthy marriage. You have to break away in a healthy way from your parents, and you have to be able to stand up for them.
Because a lot of problems spring from you not being able to stand up to them. If you have a situation with your mother-in-law and your partner is not able to have an honest conversation with her as an adult, then you've got nothing. You've got no one on your side. Right. So there's so many problems can come from that.
Yeah.
Okay. Another one. He's financially independent.
He is financially independent. Money's a really interesting thing. Money is around. It's around power for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's around really into being independent. And so it's a little bit scary to me if I'm working with a couple, let's say like they're newlywed, and I find it that mom and dad are still kind of funding something.
Right.
Okay, so it's can get a little bit tricky, for example, with a wedding.
Yeah.
Like who pays for things is very interesting. Whoever is paying for things really has power in that dynamic.
Definitely.
Okay, so it's really healthy if we're talking about being, dating or being married to a man, not a boy, that he is financially independent, because if you are completely financially independent, you're not accountable to anybody else.
Right.
You're actually maintaining all your own power, so it's actually very, very important.
So we're not saying you got to date a rich guy. We're saying he needs to be financially independent.
That he can. He's earning his own money. He's earning his own money. He's paying his own bills. He has financial literacy. He knows how to kind of take care of himself.
Yeah.
That is, and it doesn't matter how much it is. It has nothing to do with how much money that he is earning.
No.
It's all about how he's actually managing and that he is actually earning it with his own 2 hands.
Yeah.
Very important. Yeah.
He's got goals and dreams. Oh my gosh. To me, this is
so
crucial.
Sexy, right?
Hot.
So
sexy.
Hot. Yes, it's very hot.
Got goals.
Men
You've got dreams.
You gotta have goals and dreams. It's
Love
very
it.
attractive for women.
Yes.
Yes. And not only that he knows what he wants, but he's doing something about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
don't just talk.
Just don't talk about it. Do it.
Something.
If you want to go for a marathon, go for it. If you want to travel, do it. Like so that somebody who has goals and dreams and they're actually taking action. It's actually a self-starter is one of the components of emotional intelligence, actually. So actually, in many ways, a lot of these things are actually under that umbrella of emotional intelligence. And that is somebody who they know what they want and they're doing something about it.
Absolutely.
Very attractive.
Yeah, I find that very hot.
Yeah.
And taking responsibility, I find hot in anyone. Like, woman, man, child, it's a good thing.
It's a good
Take
thing.
responsibility,
Yeah.
understand your role in
Yeah.
life, understand when you do wrong, when you do right, but take responsibility.
Take responsibility. So this is a really important one. We'll see this one pop up specifically in conflict. Okay, so when couples are dating or when they're married and conflict kind of pops up, you want to start paying attention to what do they do with that conflict? Do they take responsibility going, oh my gosh, no excuses, I have made a mistake, I am sorry? Or do they blame it on everybody else? They blame it on the weather, they blame it on their friends, they blame it on everybody else. Somebody who actually takes responsibility, extremely attractive, and that is a sign of emotional maturity.
Yes, I find that, emotionally immature people, that's a really hard one for them.
And a lot of times
Just
they
take
don't
responsibility, it's okay. No one expects anyone to be perfect.
Yeah,
It's
and
all
you know
right.
what I find when I'm actually teaching this one at our center, at our counseling center, I find that I have to explain it, and then once people are like, oh, I never realized I was doing that. I'm like, yeah, you've just given me like 5 excuses for that one error. Oh, I never thought about that. Okay, yeah, so just simply say sorry.
Yeah.
And it's no biggie deal. Like honestly, when you can say sorry, all of a sudden conflicts can be resolved in like 5-10 minutes.
Absolutely.
Instead of when you blame and it, all of a sudden it kind of goes on for 5 days.
Yeah, I don't get why it's so hard.
Well, you know, if somebody hasn't learned it, like this is what like unless we have seen our parents do it, we don't really know the language. We don't even know what we're looking for, and that's why that's one of the reasons why I love practicing still. Is I love working with couples and realizing you just got to do this. It's not that big of a deal. They're like, oh, okay, and all of a sudden like the light bulb goes on. It's actually very exciting.
For sure. Okay, we want to hear from you now. Tweet us your comments at CityLineCA and at Tracy CityLine. I can't wait to read the social media feed after this. Let's go to break. More coming up. Stay with us.